Hello. All right, so you can see, or you might not be able to see, that I picked up a new set of light bulbs and lights for my desk area, so I have better lighting. Um, all right, there, get that out of the way. So, let me show you the sneak peek of the PenAddict by Spoke pen that I promised. Move this. You can hear my dog under my feet. So here's the PenAddict pen, PenAddict by Spoke. There's the cool little logo. What I like a lot about this pen is, first off, it's very comfortable. It's lightweight but sturdy feeling. But check this out. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this because I don't know. I love that. The magnetic action has a nice resounding snap. So I particularly like that. There's the cap. The clip is very springy, very tight. I wore it clipped to the placket of my shirt today, and it stayed. So inside is the Uniball Signo refill. There's a spring inside the body to keep the pressure on the refill so that it comes out. Nice steel cone. I don't know. I dig that snap. So anyway, that's the Spoke Designs pen. I like it. All right. So the main part of this video is how to replace the nib on this pen, which is a Schaefer Triumph and Parker 51 knockoff. Mine came with a bum nib that immediately went to hell in a handbasket. Let me show you what you're going to need to attempt this repair. You're going to need a rubber band, a multi-tool of some sort with some narrow pliers. Needle nose would work. You're going to have something that has a hole in it like that so you don't crush things. You're also going to need something to floss the nib afterwards and clean up some of the threads on the pen. So let me show you what you're going to do. First off, take the cap off, set it aside. And here's our garbage nib, which is actually, I kind of like the look of it. Let me show you. I'm hoping that this nib is okay. This is the package the nib came in. You can see description of contents, one fountain pen nib, valued at $2, which is actually more than I paid for it. So inside the package, it's just little bubble wrap, the new nib in a sleeve. It's not in anything hard. It looks fine to me. It might not be, depending on. So the nib, when you first get it, is glued into place. So what you're going to need to do is wrap the nib, the base of it, in the band. Use your pliers and gently, don't go clockwise, don't go counterclockwise yet to remove it, but turn it clockwise to kind of break up the glue. So you turn it, give it a little turn clockwise, and then it will loosen up. I don't know if you can actually see the nib loosening. So it takes a little bit. What I found is that the glue, and I've already gone ahead and actually gotten it. There are threads. The nib just kind of screws on there. What you'll see when you're done with that is that there will be a little bit of rubbery glue in here. Now, I used a little piece of tin can to run along those threads and pull the glue out. It wasn't stuck very tightly. You're also going to, if you decide to take this apart any further, you're going to need to make note. There are little notches. Let me pull the feed out. There are little notches in the end of this pen. And so what I did was I made note of where this notch on the feed was in relation to the notch here. And it was just about like that. Because when you clean the glue out of those threads, you don't want to have the feed in there because little bits of the glue can get caught in the feed and plug your pen up. So just whatever metric works for you, use that. Then it's very simple to take your pen, your new nib. This one actually, I hadn't actually taken it out of the holder. This doesn't feel bad. Doesn't feel great either. I'm not sure you're going to be able to pick up on that tipping without a macro lens, but the tipping is higher on the top than it is the bottom. Anyway, so this just slides over the feed. And very interesting. This nib is a little different than this one in terms of the threading. So now I need to move the feed along with the nib just a little bit and get that lined up. I don't want to get it super tight. And the feed just slides around. So we're going to see how that works. Now I can already tell. Interesting. So, and this is probably because of how it was shipped. The tines are already out of alignment, and I don't know, I don't think that was because of me twisting it on. I think it's how it was shipped. So anyway, that's annoying. And they're not cut well either. This side is much thinner than this side. Of all of, like, they couldn't just send me a good one after getting a crappy nib at first. So what I can tell right now is that this side is too low. I'm just gonna yeah, it's still too low. Anyway, what I like about this pen is that you can fully disassemble it. So the section, the grip, comes out of the body. And then you can also, there's a little tool that comes with this pen that allows you to remove this. Let's see if I can find mine. comes with this little tool, which has a little, fits over it like that. And then the whole mechanism unscrews, and you can pull it out. That's what the mechanism looks like. So you can really take this pen apart and disassemble and clean it out. It's a vacuumatic, they call it. It's got a spring-loaded so if I can, another one that I would suggest not getting the one with this nib. We'll see how this one works. No, it's not the floppy sack. I would, all the aerometric fillers, there are a lot of the aerometric versions of this pen out there. I hate the aerometric fillers. The crappy, cheap aerometric fillers are something I will never, ever, 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 ever buy again. I had such a hard time using them, and to get just like a dribble of ink was annoying, and I hated it. And I've ordered 3 of them, and yeah, squeeze sack 500 times, and you still get half a fill. So the ink that I'm filling this with is the PenAddict Fire on Fire, and it looks on my phone like a pretty good representation of the color. It's a very orangey orange with a little hint of red in the sheen. So to fill with this, you press it down, bring it up, and then press it down again. You end up, you can feel the difference in the piston. It gets like harder to push it down. It holds about 1.5 milliliters of ink in there. So it's got a pretty good hold. So you get a decent fill. This actually gives you a good idea of the color. It's pretty darn orange. It's not eye searing. But it's not dull either. Set that aside. All right, so paper. You think I would think ahead and have the paper ready. All right, just test this nib. And of course, you think right after inking. Here we go. Pretty smooth that way, but this way it's atrocious. So I think that the big problem with these pens, these cheap fountain pens, is that you have to be comfortable adjusting your nib. So this is about the same amount of pressure I used. It's a nail. The pen is a nail. But this is the same pressure I used on the other nib when it sprang. see how that goes. Yeah, this pen is totally a nail. Yeah, I like replacing my nibs and playing with them. I like this was not a troubling thing. I mean, I was bothered by the fact that I got a bum nib on this, but the idea, oh, there we go. The idea that I was going to have to fiddle with it didn't bother me. So now I've got a nib that is pretty well aligned, and you're not going to be able to see it on the camera because it's too close. So the nib is pretty well aligned. And all I need to do at this point is do a little smoothing. So this is a fingernail buffing stick. And hopefully my wife, who just got home, remembered her key. Yes, she did. So it's got a spot to buff the nail, polish the nail, and then shine the nail. And the dogs get really whiny. When we come home, you're going to hear them howl. So it's okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use the shining nail section of this buffing stick to get. He gets very, very upset when we come home, or excited. I don't think he's upset. I think he's excited. What do you think, Chris? Is Wicket excited or upset that we've been gone?
Excited about me being gone?
No, excited about you coming home.
Oh,
Or is he upset?
Like
I know, but is he upset that we were gone or excited that we came home?
Oh, I think both. Absolutely both.
I don't know if you guys could hear my dog.
Does it have to go outside? Huh?
They've been out, but they'll probably want to go out again. Yeah, this thing is a complete and utter nail. But it's nice. It's a nice wet writer. I think this is going to really show off this orange ink. Oh yeah, there we go. So this isn't a very aggressive adjustment. Yeah, the pen is a little smoother. Has a nice noise. It is a complete and utter nail, though. I mean, there's no flex in this. No bounce. Nothing at all. It's a nice nail, though. I will say that. Anyway. So that's how you replace the nib in the Wing Sung 601A with a new nib. If you spring your nib, relatively easy process once you get the original nib off. Once you force that off and unscrew it, it's just a matter of screwing in the new nib. I'm not gluing my nib in place. I could put a little dab of E6000 on there and you know, screw it back on. I don't see the necessity of that. I'm worried that I would muck up, get some glue into the feed. Sorry, can't talk and write at the same time. So yeah, and that's the PenAddict ink too. So the Fire on Fire. And to give you a look at the ink. It's actually not showing up well. This is just cheap copier paper. It's a nice orange on bright white. I think I did a hut take in my bullet journal. So this is a Leuchtturm 1917, and I know I did a hut take. Yeah, so here's a bit of writing on that warm paper of the Leuchtturm. So yeah. So it's a nice ink. Pen is kind of nice once it's got the replacement nib in it. What else can I show you? Oh, you want to see a funny thing? So this afternoon I came home from work and this little package was in the mail. I was like, oh great, one of my fountain pens came in. And then I saw this. The fountain pen squirted out and was not in my mailbox. It's probably languishing in a machine or jammed up a machine somewhere. So that's funny, but hopefully the seller will just send me a new one. Maybe. We'll see. As for other things I've got coming up for review, I've got a whole bunch of fountain pen inks that I'm going to review. Let me see what I've got going on for pens. Indeed. I don't think this review has gone up, but I think in the last video I was talking about the Wingsung 3118 and how the nib that I got on it was garbage. So one of the things that I found is that if the Wingsung nibs don't have a little Wingsung logo on them, they are not very good. So I ordered a replacement pack of Wingsung nibs, which are the same size as a Platinum Preppy nib, but longer. So the Platinum Preppy nib fits onto the end of one of these Wingsungs, but is too short. You could probably get into like clipping the feed or cutting it, but the new nibs work great. Just make sure that if you do order new nibs, they are those with a Wingsung logo on them, not without, because the logo-free Wingsung-ish nibs, pseudo Wingsung nibs, are garbage. They're terrible. So that's one of the upcoming videos, or not video, review. Can't think this evening. I'm also going to be reviewing the Kara's Custom ink, which is not in the year of cheap fountain pens. I've got a few other things that I'm going to be reviewing as well, but the PenAddict pen is probably the biggest one, and then I'm going to be doing some articles on the blog for how to pick a good cheap fountain pen, what sellers to use and things like that. And so again, I'll give another look at the PenAddict by Spoke Design. I can tell that the color that you're getting on screen is much more yellow. This is really yellow. Still really yellow. I'm trying to get a good. Yeah, it's much more orange in person than it's showing up on my phone. But I'll leave you with this. I love that. So anyway, it's got a nice snap with the magnet. So yeah, it's kind of goldfishy. It's closer actually. It's a little more yellow than this. Sort of a lighter shade of that. Less orange, more goldfish. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that little pseudo tutorial I just did, and it helps you if you order a Wingsung 601A and you get a crappy nib, because new nibs are cheaper than buying the whole pen, and actually I really enjoy the Vacuumatic style of fill on this. It's a very fun little pen, and you should check them out. All right. Thanks. Bye. Have a good night.